Hey, so if you can tell by the smile, we've had some success. All right, welcome back to what is installment three, I guess, of what I'm referring to as the JPI or J4 API Schema Hunt, which turns out isn't really so much a schema hunt. It's just a really long test to make sure this API is working and making sure we can update the native parameters and the custom fields. Mainly being able to update all the custom fields. There should be no reason that we can't do it, right? And that pretty much turned out to be true. Um, Now, I did learn that a few things when since the last video, which was I think yesterday or day before yesterday, not sure. Um, Very similar clothing, but different day. All right. So before I jump back into it, recap: we created a whole bunch of custom fields of pretty much all types, so that we can test one, finding out what they look like on the other end with JSON. What the JSON, what it looks like in the JSON output when we call that article back, and if we want to update or patch an article. All right, or so that was what we did, as well as create some groups and just made one specific article. First bug I noticed, which I have no idea what that has to do with, is that the custom fields um, view is disappeared or has disappeared on the back end. Even as an admin, I can't see them and I can't edit them. Right now, don't care about that, and we'll figure out what the source of that issue is later. And mainly because I only care to update them via the API anyway, so it has kind of just forced me to really want to make sure this works. So in the off chance that that bug happens in the future, I at least know how to update an article, and even the custom fields specifically by way of the API. Now, so let's get my face out the way. We can go back to the screen and get, and I guess, show you what we got going on. So just to let you know, yes, I have succeeded in doing the majority of what I wanted to accomplish, and that is just being able to, do all the tweaking of an article using the API. Maybe I'll do this again and show some examples or use cases and how to get, you know, to take advantage of this feature, maybe with articles and other things in the future. But right now, you know what we're doing. So this is the article that I have created using just sample data and custom fields. Remember, I know I spelled schema wrong. Um, you know why I have it there. So as you can see, I have another new title. These are the changes that I've made to uh, see if it works. And because I kind of figured most of it out, this video should be fairly short in comparison to the others. So if we go back to, let's go back to Postman. All right. So what I've noticed, or I'm sorry, not Postman. Well, yes, here. So here is the schema, as you've seen at the end of the last video. This is what we've pulled when we go to pull this specific article. All right. So we'll see this is what we got when we pulled it. Now, if you were to create an article from scratch, this is, let's go up. This is not the right article. Sorry, let's find the API docs. One sec. All right, there we go. So these are the core API docs. Let's just get down to the articles. Actually, I'll just use this and over here. Probably could have just scrolled. Content, articles. All right. So when we're creating an article, we see this is the schema that they gave us as an example. We see that everything is just there's no objects or anything just yet. But when we pull it out, we see that there are objects, or some of the information is broken down into other objects. As you can see, it goes into data, and then from there we go into attributes for for certain things that are not done as such in the basic one, right? So this is where the whole reason I did this was to figure out, well, this is how I created, but how do I update it? Do I have to know the schema, of course, and have to put it in the same fashion? And what I found out thus far is that we don't. We pretty much can put it in just like this. This may have been obvious to many of you. It was not to me. Again, I am new. So if you're watching this video, you might also be new, and that's why I'm doing it. So, but here is what I noticed, and what I'm going to have to do a lot more of outside of this video is noticing where the differences are in the variables, because that's also what I was worried about. All right, and I gave examples of it says this over here, but what does it say over here? All right, so I also have this inside of my, I already have it here. So let's jump right to some examples. The main one, which is the one field that I have yet to be able to update, and I don't exactly know why. Maybe you could tell me. So if we're looking for the actual the article text, right? So I already know I have the text of this is article text. This is the article text box. So now if I go back to the actual page, this is the article text box. Now let's go over to the original code, right? Or the original example. If we want to create it, the variable is article text. Seems fairly obvious. But when we go over and see Postman and we look for that same information, this is the article text box. We see that the variable now is text. So I don't know which one is right. And even more so, when I go to update that, let's go. I have a patch already set up, and this is the information that I've put out so far. All right, I am going to put for the article text right here. It just says text, so I'm going to use what they use. It just says text. And maybe this is where the schema will come into play. I don't know, but I'm going to put text changed. Going to hit send, and all right, we got a 200. We're okay. And if I go down and look for article text, okay, and we'll find that text, it still says, if we just use text, this is the article text box. So it hasn't changed. Maybe something else changed because I got it wrong, but what I'm trying to change did not change. So we now know that text for sure is not going to change the article text box. So if I go back and make this article text and then go ahead and hit send again, let's go and try and find that same information. And again, it is not changed as we see, because it should now say text changed. And if I go over to the page and I refresh, it is not changing. Now, this should be in the video, maybe, because I don't have a solution just yet. But we know as of right now, that is something that we have to figure out or continue to figure out. Maybe we'll have the solution by the end of this video of the schema that needs to be tweaked a little bit so that we can make sure we're changing this. That's one issue. Another issue, which is not really an issue, it's just, I guess, a rule, is that some of the required fields of my custom fields I had to update or I had to include in the request, which was the schema text field and 1 and 2. All right. When I didn't have those, let's delete that one and say I want to change the title again, new title, and I want to send that one. It worked this time, so maybe it's inconsistent, or maybe I made a mistake before. But I'm gonna refresh this. Good to go. Again, new title, all set. We Gucci. All right. So now let's figure out, or help me figure out, what that issue is. Why can't we get this new text article box to update? So let's see if we can just mimic the schema from here. All right, so in this case, we see that where is it at? The article text is, oops, that's not how you spell that. Texting. All right. So we know that the article text. Oops, this is my copy. Let's go up because that doesn't count. Or I'll just read. All right. So we know that it's here, and it's in. This is inside of the object of data. So what if we recreate that? All right. So what if we recreate the object data? Oh, I'm sorry. It's inside of attributes, which is inside of data. Correct? Yes, that is correct. It is inside of the attributes object, which is inside of data. So let's try and recreate that. So if I'm back over on Postman, I know that since we're going to be using the variable that they're using, so I'm going to get rid of this one. And I am going to cut you out altogether. How about that? All right, and then let's just go here. Let's just go ahead and create another one. And then this is data. And inside of data, we needed to make attributes. Spell that right? Hope so. Not schema. Remember, guys, I don't really know what the hell I'm doing. Or do I? All right. Text changed. Let's make this a little bit cleaner. All right. I think that should be it, right? Let's go back. Double check. Might help if I put my quotes, you know. Why don't we split the screen on this, buddy? Okay. Don't need you right now. Okay, so let's double check and make sure everything is working. All right, so here's what I decided to do. Let's just see if we can update with just this schema right here. All right, so we're going to go into data, attributes, and specifically update text. Let's see if it works. Let's go ahead and hit send. 400 bad request. Now, remember how I said earlier, I need to update some of the custom fields. So I showed an example and then it worked anyway, although I removed it. Now it's asking for it again. So there are some fields, custom fields. I think if you make them required, then even if they're already filled in and I'm doing a patch of something unrelated, it requests that I at least still have that in there. I don't know why, but okay, cool. Let me go ahead and bring that back. All right, and I'm going to leave what I had there. Make sure all my brackets are correct. All right, now let me try. All right, so I just cut it out beforehand. And let's see what happens. Again, bad request. So what am I missing? I thought I had both of them. Schema text field 1, schema text field 2. So field required, outlet name. All right, and then schema text field 1 and schema text field 2. Outlet name, present. Schema text field 1 and 2, also present. Oh, there should also be a comma here. That's for sure. And probably not a comma here because you're by yourself. See if that had anything to do with it. Oh, maybe it did. Don't forget your syntax, kids. All right, so let's see. Did it fix? Did it do what we needed it to do? Let's go down to text and drum roll, please. You can't read. You're skipping what you. Nope. This is still the same. Looks like nothing has changed, mate. And we're still stuck there. Again, still happy because we're able to update the custom fields, and then specifically my use case, that's what I need to update, not really so much the text field. surprisingly. So I'm still counting this as a win for now. Um, so where are we left at right now? Still can't update the article text box. We'll get back to that. So what else matters? One, which I point out already, is that sometimes, obviously, the variable has changed. So there's that. And then there is the matter of where some of the variables are and how they are organized. So we're just going to look at just what we got back from the site. What I know, because I created these custom fields myself, they are in different field groups. Is that relevant on this side? Maybe not. I just noticed that they are not grouped accordingly, and that they're grouped though. So they're still grouped. So for instance, and also some of the native fields are also grouped with some of the custom fields, and everything is like out of order. It's not in any particular order that kind of makes sense, if that makes sense, right? And there were some names of things that are different. So let's just go back and let's see if we can do this. All right, we're gonna need to make silly whip bigger. All right, make this a bit smaller. Okay, so now let's just go for note, right? Article notey notes right here. That's here, makes sense. And then we have features. So we have status, category, featured, access, tags, note, and version note. Over here, and we have featured, language, note, tags, featured up, featured down. Now, featured up and featured down, I'm speculating that that just means when it's featured, and that is actually taken care of over here in the publishing section, which would be started when you start featuring it and when you stop featuring it. So that is two sections over. And then you have the text, of course, which is over here, and then you have the outlet name, which is a custom. This is a custom field. And remember, we're having a bug right now where I can't actually access my custom groups. But either way, doesn't matter. Why is this grouped with this set, as we can see here? All right, and then we have our other set of custom fields. So it seems like it does all of the, what do you call it? It doesn't do all of the it doesn't put them in order. Sorry. Because if I scroll up here, you'll see that we have the URLs, and URLs is the equivalent of images and links. They are kind of together. But we now know that these three boxes are in the URLs section, right? So I wonder, do I need to have these set up in the same manner as an object, or could I just update URLA by itself? You know what? Let's check and see. So I'm going to copy this one, and I'm just going to change. Actually, I'm going to change the text. I'm not going to change. I'm going to try and just change the text. All right. So if I go over to Postman, hey Postman, I'm not even going to deal with any of these. I'm just going to go ahead and add this right in here, paste, and then it says, you know what, let's make it say has some new text. That's all. Send, and then let's go over. We got a 200. Everything is good. And I'm going to reload the page. I'm going to reload the back end. I don't care to see the front end. Let's see if it has some new text. And it has not changed here. So maybe I do need to set it as this variable and include everything. All right. So let's copy that. And let's go over here, back to Postman. And then I'm going to get rid of this one and replace it with what I know to be correct. All right. So, and then let's change, since we got it, let's put it back, what we said before. Some new, and then B has also new text, and then C has some new text again. All right, and then we send. All right, 200. Okay, let's go. Reload the front end. And then we see, hey, it is working. Move this up the way. So we can see down here, this is why I want to look at the back end, because it's easier for viewing this section. Reload, and this section, it did work out. So that does tell us that sometimes a variable that might be in an object has to be an object, and then sometimes a variable doesn't have to be in an object. So yes, we do have to care about the schema. So these are the things that I'm going to have to note down with some of the different parameters. Now, I had some tools that I found. One was this really cool tool. Actually, I didn't find it. Another YouTuber, I really wish I had his name right now, or another Joomla, created a video that directed me to this tool, which is the free online, JSON to schema converter. So I put in what we had, and matter of fact, I'm going to use the most recent. Okay, I already put it in there, so we're good. So when we pull that out, we then get the schema and let us know, what's required, what isn't required, so on and so forth, and the different properties of what everything is. Not going to go into super detail there, but if you go to this link or go to liquid-technologies.com/online JSON to schema converter with dashes in between those words, you'll get to this page, and then you'll be able to create your own. And then I added that to another. I used that one in conjunction with another tool that I use just to make things easier in other situations. JSON to table. I like to move things over to table to manipulate them a little bit easier because I'm more familiar with that. To take the same information and play with it there. So let's just take this right here and then put that in the table so I can see it clearly. All right. So obviously we can see what is an object and what isn't an object, so on and so forth, and then also be able to just like move things around a little bit better. I like to do that. That's just me. So yeah, we just found out that there needs to be a note created that URLs has to be an object. It can't. It's not just a plain variable that can be updated by itself. All right, or it has to be updated inside the URL variable. At least that's what I understand right now. Remember, with my limited knowledge. Okay, so much for this video being shorter. Now, moving on to the next thing. Now, if we're back on the back end and we're looking at the publishing and so on and so forth, we can easily see things like one versions, which is, I believe, is revisions. So this is outdated. So let me go ahead and check let me go ahead and pull a new version and hit send, and then go with, I'm looking for revisions. I think it is. Versions. I'm sorry. Versions 11, and if we go back end, yeah, versions. So revisions on the front end is versions, and then we have hits and ID, etc. Those are easy, but we see that they're just mixed up all over the place. If I had no custom fields, it would, of course, be a little bit easier to navigate, but we now know the equivalent of each thing, what they are. So what I'm going to do is create a spreadsheet for myself that outlines all of the native fields, and then what they are in the front, and then what they are in the back. So therefore, I can just copy paste, or what I'm using Integramat, which is my preferred automator tool. I could. I'm going to put a link. If you haven't had that, try it out. I have a referral link, and I'm going to put in my description. Definitely check it out. With that, I could then easily, moving forward, create my automations to update these different fields. And since I now know the schema, which is not in the documentation, when I want to update the URLs, it wasn't straightforward. Now it'll be straightforward for me, and I guess a little bit more straightforward for you, seeing how things are all mixed up. Last is like your configure edit screen. These are definitely different things over here. And use global, hide, and show. These are represented as numbers. So you have to really start to go in and figure out what each thing is. So if I go and search options, so option is not even a word, right? It's not found in here anywhere. If I want to look for publishing options or article options or administrator images and links, what to show, etc., front end images and links. I don't know what that is just yet. I have to go in line by line and try to figure out what is what. So let me go to, if I just looking for the word publishing, publish up, publish down. We know now up and down just means started and finished, or when it starts and when it stops. But I still don't know what is what. If state means published, I think, whether it's published or not. But if I go down to, we'll skip images, we know what that is, we know what versions is, hits, metadata. Metadata surprisingly does not use the 1, 2, 3 version. They use the actual words. Well, this is data. It's different. Um, so if I go back, let's continue scrolling. Featured, blah 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 blah. We're now in custom field territory. So skip anything that says schema, and then go back to relationships. So relationships, I don't know what that is yet. But we do see right in there we have category ID 19. That is really important as well. So when you go and you want to create an article, you update that category here with 60 with right here, and with it says cat ID. That does not exist when you're pulling it. That field, you won't be able to find it. So when I go to create an article, I'll just use cat ID to establish what category it is. But if I want to update the article, as we can tell from use with the images and links updates, we can see that we're probably going to have to use the same schema, going to relationships, category, data, and then update the categories using the two fields that way. And then now, when it comes to the created by and modified, etc., those are all objects as well. So as we can see, there are some things that are missing, or not, so we won't say missing, but just aren't available inside of the API. And we're going to assume that is a lot of this whole configure edit screen. Um, I don't see that just yet as an option, because if we skip all of our custom fields, which is anything that has the word schema in it, and that will be here. I'm just delete those. We'll see that we're left with nothing that relates to these few things. But again, I have to read it some more because I'm kind of finding this out in real time with you all, and I haven't dove super deep here. So yeah, if you see it, let me know. But I do not. All right. And also when it comes to being who it's created by, it goes by the user ID, of course, and not by the user's name. The username. What else is relevant? So far, that's kind of what it is, and I think that's could be where we wrap this up, because this video ends up being for 30 minutes, but hopefully 30 informative minutes, or at least 5 of them had to be informative. I hope so. But nonetheless, this was exciting. This allows me to have significant progress on the project that I'm working on that utilizes this API. This is the first version of the Joomla 4 API, so there are going to be some things that are going to change drastically depending on when this is seen, and things that I would assume will get better. Actually, Joomla always just gets better, never gets worse. There's an amazing team of people behind Joomla, all of the volunteers that do it. Once I become a little bit more confident in my abilities and have something that I feel of value to contribute, like what may come of this, I definitely will join the ranks of the volunteers and submit some information. But yeah, Joomla's great. This new web services API that's built into Joomla 4 is really, really awesome. And I'm going to build a web app using it. Um, yeah, have any questions, leave comments, hit me up on Slack if you have me there. Email me. I'm really bad at email, so actually don't email me. Find me on Twitter. And if you're on my team and you're watching this first, hey, let's get to work. This is awesome. And for everyone else, or everyone in general, uh, stay dope, stay awesome. But as always, stay dope. Talk to you soon.